Welcome to Most Loved Wrestling, a place where wrestling is most loved. It has been a whole 2.5 months since I've been on YouTube, and a lot of shit has happened in my absence. Some of it good too. Jey Uso became the Intercontinental Champion, winning his first singles championship. AJ Styles returned and got injured on the same night. Seth Rollins is back. Raquel Rodriguez is back. The Mega Powers came back. No, not that one. A modern day one. Cody came out with a black band at Bad Blood. He's still trying to fuel them rumors. Jimmy Uso returned. The Rock returned. KO turned on Cody. KO turned on Randy. He's wearing his black Air Forces again. The Multi-City Machine Guns made their WWE debut. Xavier Woods is kind of a bad guy. The Miz has turned on R-Truth in some kind of alliance with the Final Testament. Be that guy. Samantha Snake does. Lillian saved us, but she keeps fucking shit up. Jey Uso lost the Intercontinental Championship because of the Bloodline in a situation where he got it back in blood by making them drop the tag team titles to the Motor City Machine Guns, leading to the OG Bloodline reuniting. Then after that, leading to Roman Reigns getting pinned by Solo Sikoa. And on that very same night, Liv Morgan and Cody Rhodes became the very first Crown Jewel champions. The Miz has been kidnapped and Rhea Ripley has been murdered. Oh, and finally, the introduction of the Women's United States Championship, which in itself is most definitely a topic to speak about on another day. But today, we're here to speak about Monday Night Raw and its MVPs. But before I do so, put a like on this video, subscribe to my bullshit, and hit the notification bell. It helps with the algorithm. Lord knows I need it. So if you like what I'm doing and believe that the world deserves to bear witness, this is how you can make it happen. As per usual, we're going to start with the matches. Damage Control gets the jump on PFC. Pete Dunne capitalizes off of the friction between the New Day members, leading to Kofi's bitter end. Damian Priest sends Ludwig Kaiser south of heaven. That's hell for those that don't know. And despite interference from Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill retain their WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, with a little help from Naomi, of course. Other developments, by the looks of it, the Ring General Gunther is doubting himself, and Damian Priest has the utmost confidence. Ludwig doesn't appreciate Damian's disrespect, but he ends up getting boxed in the mouth. And check this, Gunther is shook to attack Priest. Wild. Dakota Kai is back in full force. Kofi and Xavier continue to be operating on two different planes. Kofi wanted to thank Truth for his assistance last week and apologize for not having his back. He was about to express his frustrations with Woods' recent behavior when the devil himself interrupts. But before they can get into anything, Pete Dunne confronts R-Truth about calling him Butch. Kofi defends Truth, resulting in a match between himself and Dunne later on that night. Despite Woods wanting nothing to do with this, Woods tries to help Kofi defeat Dunne, but Kofi don't want no outside interference in his matches. Turns his focus to arguing with Woods, resulting in Butch, Pete Dunne picking up the victory. They continue arguing after the match is done. Kofi even pushed Xavier. Aside from the petty squabbling between Jimmy and Sami, the OG Bloodline needs to seek a fifth member for War Games. Sami Zayn says he thinks he knows a guy. Meanwhile, Jimmy seeks out Braun Breaker, and I'm sure they had a conversation on the same topic. Judgment Day are butting heads. Well, at least Finn and Dom are. Finn's vexed because Dom didn't win the #1 contenders match last week, and even more vexed that Damian Priest did. But Dominic Mysterio is not just going to let Finn Balor talk to him like he's crazy. Dom reminds Finn that him himself has come closer to the World Heavyweight Championship because he holds a victory over Damian Priest, something that Finn Balor does not. And at this point, Finn's looking to throw hands, but the rest of the Judgment Day de-escalate the situation, reminding them, hey, we are family. Which is when Finn requests for Dom and Carlito to take care of the #1 contenders for the Tag Team Championships, the War Raiders. Bronson Reed and Seth are still not done. They get into another brawl, and Bronson Reed kills a bunch of future WrestleMania main eventers. While we're on the topic of Seth Rollins, Seth was the guy that Sami was thinking of to be the 5th man in War Games. But Seth ain't going for it. Understandably, too much water under the bridge there for him. Whilst he ain't fucking with Roman, Solo tried to recruit him too. But it turns out, he ain't fucking with Solo either. He thinks he's some discount wannabe Roman Reigns, and he ain't gonna support that. Next week, Braun Breaker will defend the IC Championship against Sheamus. The Miz is no longer kidnapped. Apparently they set him free because he promised to change his life, and it seems as first as the Final Testament ain't going for it. And remember, Karrion Kross promised to break the Miz's legs, and it seemed like he was about to do it. Uno reverse card, the Miz and the Final Testament lay a trap for the Wyatt Six. On top of that, it works out because they dropped them, left them lying in the middle of the ring. Despite that, Bo Dallas is still laughing, leaving Karrion Kross just a little bit unnerved. My thoughts on the show, I'm sorry, I have to clear this up. I cannot allow this disrespect to go unanswered. Jamal Hill got himself to more than #3 at the light heavyweight division rankings in the UFC. He is the former champ at light heavyweight. Yeah, he had to relinquish the title due to a hand injury. And yes, in his return fight against Alex Pereira, who then picked up the championship, he got dropped. But I just wanted to clear that up. He's not just some potential contender, He's a former champion. He is really that guy. I couldn't let that disrespect slide. Back to the wrestling. I don't quite know how I feel about the way they got the main man Gunther acting. It's like he exchanged his black Air Forces for a pair of white ones. Like, Gunther, what happened to you, bro? When did you turn light skin? But I'm going to give it a couple of weeks, see what I want. Because of course it's part of the story. But as of now, I'm not about it. I will say though, creating depth and development in on-screen characters is never really a bad idea. It's just, to me, the idea of a mentally and emotionally vulnerable Gunther, it makes me sick. But as I said, we will see. Dakota Kai is back and I'm a big fan. The roster's going to need her with the introduction of the Women's United States Championship. So her coming back is definitely a welcome sight. Let's try stay off the shelf now though, yeah? I remember when the Final Testament and Xavier Woods storyline first started. I was not a fan at all. But I decided to, as they say, let them cook. Now, even though Final Testament is nowhere near that storyline anymore, it's evolved into something that I can fuck with. I'm always on edge, always nervous that they're going to execute the turn. Make Xavier and Kofi Kingston break up the New Day. And I like the way it's not just done overnight. It's been going on and building up for months. They've got loads of inventory and reasons to why Xavier Woods or Kofi Kingston could be pissed off with the other. It's one of them ones where even though clearly Xavier Woods is the bad guy, you don't actually know who really is morally wrong. There comes a time where you have to stop caring about others and remember, this is a business. And that's the point where Xavier is. But at the same time, you should never sell yourself out. You should never change who you are. You always got to keep a code of morality. And that's where Kofi Kingston is. So yeah, as I'm saying, they both got very good points as to why the other person is wrong in this argument. And that's the best type of storyline. One where you can see where everybody is coming from. Xavier is playing his role so well. He's moving mad selfish right now, I'm not going to lie. But I like it. Seth Rollins, he's going to look real stupid. He said he's never in his life going to team with Roman Reigns again. Well, I guess that he's walking into War Games as a corpse then. Because we know already from their interaction, Solo Sikoa is going to act a fool next week in his match against Bronson Reed as retaliation for the disrespect. And then Seth Rollins, he's going to want to get even. He's going to crash out and it's going to result in him agreeing to join the OG Bloodline in War Games to get himself a piece. I ain't got nothing interesting to say about the Judgment Day, bro. I don't feel like this thing between Finn and Dom is going to result in any type of breakup. There's no money in that. I feel like the only thing it could result in is Finn Balor once again screwing over Damian Priest in more bitterness. But let's be honest, we've seen it. We're all kind of over it at this point. Well, at least I am. I've got no right to speak for other people. But yeah, nothing major to say. Nothing groundbreaking. Now, Braun Breaker and Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship next week is going to be a banger. Which is only right considering that's Sheamus' whole gimmick right now. You know, banger after banger. Yeah. But when is he going to finish his story though? How many more times are we going to see him fail to grab the Intercontinental Championship? Now, I'm not saying that next week he should win. Because no, the fuck he should not. But I'm just saying, I do really want to see Sheamus eventually capture the one championship that has eluded him his entire career. And I think The Miz and Final Testament, that might as well have been the final segment on Raw probably. It would have been more impactful to close Raw with the White Six down and out, rather than Bianca's crew cleaning house. It just didn't feel like the clip to close the show on. I get it, War Games and all of that stuff, but I mean, it seems random at the same time. Like, it had nothing behind it. This Miz and Final Testament stuff and the White Six, it's got a little bit of a build. So it would have been better if that closed the show rather than Bianca Belair and her team standing too. Now it's time for them MVPs. In 5th place, we've got Bronson Reed. He needs to start winning. But I like the fact that he's maintaining his momentum despite the losses, both to Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. And with WWE on this one, I still see the potential. But we just need to get this guy some W's. Plus, we just watched him genocide dive some future Hall of Famers. In 4th place, I'm going to go to Final Testament. Them along with The Miz, they laid out the White Six. That was a sight we don't see often. Actually, a sight we don't see at all. The White Six always smash on whoever they try to pressure. So the fact that the Final Testament and Miz smashed on them, that can't go overlooked. In 3rd place, I'm going with Damian Priest. Damian has evolved. I don't want to see this man doing nothing down the bottom of the card, down in the mid card again. He needs to be a permanent fixture of the main event. He's proved where he belongs. I would say that Damian Priest is in contention for possibly having the best year, the best 2024. Of course, there's Cody, there's Gunther, Liv Morgan, Solo Sikoa. There has been people that have been cooking in 2024, but you can't not mention Damian Priest. I'd probably say he's the breakout of the year. The way he feels now is way different from how he felt at the beginning of the year. I looked past him in January. Now I take him hella seriously, and apparently so does Gunther. In 2nd place, I'm going to go with the New Day. The story of their pending implosion is painful to watch for me, but in the way it's supposed to be. I don't want to see the New Day break up. That's madness to me. But Xavier and Kofi, they're putting over this story. and I'm actually invested to the point where I can accept it happening. It won't feel like just breaking up tag teams for the sake of breaking up tag teams. So that's good work by them and creative. And the MVP of the show, I'm going to give it to Seth Rollins. What can I say? He came out to Bronson Reed, he was on smoke. Really and truly, he was the focal point of the Bloodline story on this episode. And the Bloodline story is the main event of pro wrestling, period, let alone the WWE. So therefore, Seth Rollins was the main story for Raw. In fact, maybe him violating Solo Sikoa, that could have been the final segment of Raw. That would have landed. But of course, I want to see how this plays out and see how Seth Rollins is going to join the OG Bloodline. But I'm almost certain Solo Sikoa is going to crash out next week because of the disrespect that he took. One thing I will say, why is it 5 men? We don't need 5 men for it. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think that the War Games needs to be 5 men. Just make it a 4-on-4. That's all it needs to be. That's all it should be. You've got the right people that have built the story. You don't need to add extras into it. It's not necessary. Too many chefs in the kitchen spoil the broth. However, WWE has extremely reliable guys that will always find a way to make it work, to make it look good. So I'm just going to watch and enjoy. And is it possible for us to get The Rock on Solo Sikoa's team? Last year we had a legendary Survivor Series moment. Maybe we could be getting that this year. This time, instead of CM Punk, it's Dwayne Johnson. That shit would be fire. But that's it from me today. Thanks for listening to my bullshit. Don't forget to leave a like. Remember to subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below.